Ah, I was wondering who it was. What fortuitous timing.
Did you need me for something?
Nothing in particular. I was simply thinking of having a little chat with you. Please, do relax.
But I already am relaxed.
I've heard your background is quite the mystery, and what's more, that you possess some sort of unknown power. It's certainly a bold decision for Claude to put someone like that in charge of frontline forces.
I don't know if there's anything bold about it.
Oh? It seems you do not understand your unique position, then. Each noble house in Leicester commands its own knights, and those knights in turn enact the will of their lords through the soldiers in their employ. But you are no knight, merely a mercenary who commands soldiers in fealty to nobody at all.
Maybe so, but all my orders come straight from the Alliance leader himself. What's the problem?
There is no problem, per se. You excel at what you do and fight with true valor. However, protecting the people of Leicester has always been the nobility's responsibility, and theirs alone. Some nobles may feel insulted that they have to rely on a simple mercenary of unknown origin.
Seriously? But nobles are usually the ones hiring mercenaries in the first place.
On the other hand, I hear there are more commanders of common birth in the Empire of late. Given our current lack of resources, the Alliance could serve to learn from them and promote more commoners through our ranks. Which means there should be no particular reason for anyone to resent you.
Didn't you just say they might feel insulted? If nobody's getting all hot under the armor about it, then there's no problem, right?
That said, this does not change the fact that a noble's obligation is to protect the common folk. Though your exact origins remain unclear, you undoubtedly fall into the commoner category as it stands. Therefore, you are entitled to all the protection a noble is compelled to provide. Simply say the word if you ever require my assistance.
Of course, Lorenz. You'll be the first person I go to. Capable guy like you has plenty of sway with the other nobles, after all. You know, at first I thought you were just coming to complain, but you were actually trying to be nice.
Me? Nice? To you? Oh my, you are funny. Allow me to explain. I am the heir to House Gloucester, a noble among nobles. My offer of aid was not an act of kindness. It was a means to inform you of your place in this society. You would do well to remember the order of things here in Fodlan.
So, you just came to tell me how I'm disrupting the order? You are complaining.
Most certainly not. Do you really think me that small-minded? I've acknowledged your skills, and all I ask in return is that you act according to your station. Understand?
All right, I'll keep that in mind. For now. In any case, my job as a mercenary is to fight. Simple as that. You're wasting your time if you're gonna get all bent out of shape about me.
I am not getting... Never mind. We shall continue this at a later date.
Tough fight, eh, Lawrence? I'm just glad we both made it back safe.
Indeed. Without your help, I surely would have met a noble warrior's demise. Thankfully, my admirers will have no reason to weep today. And for that, you have my gratitude.
Well, that took a weird turn.
Do you remember what I said before about the order of things in Fodlan?
Yeah, wasn't it something like, you nobles are here to protect us commoners, so we all should just be good little kids and go take a nap or something?
Well, I don't recall saying anything about naps, but yes, We nobles have an obligation to protect the common folk. However, were a commoner to take a lethal strike in a noble's stead, then we have failed in our duty. I was dangerously close to suffering that fate myself.
Okay, sure, but you would have died if I hadn't saved you.
And in doing so, you put yourself in a most precarious position. Your life could have been forfeit.
Risking my neck to save others is just what I do.
Yes, well, you were lucky to keep it unsevered this time. Mark my words, there is no reason a commoner should ever put their life on the line for a noble. I couldn't bear the thought of someone of your status sacrificing their life for the sake of my own. So do not do that again. Are we clear?
You're right. I'm sorry.
Do not mistake me. There's nothing for you to apologize for. Do I seem so selfish that I would make the person who saved my life then seek my forgiveness?
All right. No apology then. Sheesh. You're a real piece of work, you know that?
Me? How rude! I will have you know I'm quite serious about this matter.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but we can end up in that situation 100 times, and I'll save you every single one.
Astonishing. You fail to understand me after all this.
Nah, I get what you're going for, but I've got my own way of doing things. Mercenary or no, I know there's nothing worse than watching an ally die right in front of me. Especially if they're weaker than me. I just can't help but jump in to save them, you know?
Weaker? You cannot possibly mean me.
Hey, you're the one who almost kicked the bucket out there. If you don't want people rushing in to save you, then you've just got to get stronger.
I must admit, your argument is sound. I cannot refute it. In that case, I ask you keep your eyes on me from this day forth. I shall endeavor to improve myself. The day my strength surpasses yours, my noble personage will save your commoner skin and restore the proper order to this world. Yes! This shall solve all of Fodlan's problems!
This is why nobody believes me when I say he's actually a decent guy.
Ah, there you are.
Here to complain again, Lorenz?
Do I look like a man who does nothing but complain? Simply preposterous.
Okay, then what do you want?
I'm not sure if you noticed, but I have grown remarkably stronger as of late. I've poured all my effort, nay, my very blood, into these results. And do you know why that is?
To win the war, right?
That may be part of it, yes. But the impetus came from you throwing down the gauntlet.
I don't remember doing anything like that.
You surely could not have forgotten. Your words ring true in my ears even now. It was something like, if you don't want people running in to save you, then you just gotta get stronger than me.
That does sound like me.
And I believe I responded, the day my strength surpasses yours, my noble personage will save your commoner skin and restore the proper order to this world.
Did you?
Yes, I most certainly did. And now that day has finally come. I am a man of my word, after all. If I could only just rescue you from a perilous spot in battle, I will have truly fulfilled my vow.
So that was a vow, huh?
Yes, one I whispered into the ears of the goddess herself. Yet you seem dead set on foiling my every opportunity to fulfill it. somehow you never stumble, never falter on the battlefield. It's almost as if you're an army all on your own. And so, despite my every intention to rush in and rescue you, the opportunity never arises. Well, what do you plan to do about this?
Okay, see what you're doing right now? You're complaining again, but you've got it all wrong. The reason I don't run into trouble in battle isn't because I'm all-powerful or something. It's because I have reliable allies like you fighting alongside me. So, you see, you've already fulfilled your vow.
What? Well, I must say I'm quite impressed with myself. It seems I've managed to save your life without even realizing it. Which means I, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester, have emerged victorious in our challenge.
Congrats, Lawrence. You did good. But just so we're clear, you're not so full of it to think you're actually stronger than me, are you?
Ah, throwing down another gauntlet. Very well then. How about a little sparring session, right here and now?
Bring it. But no complaining if you lose, all right?
I was wondering who it was. What fortuitous timing.
Did you need me for something?
Nothing in particular. I was simply thinking of having a little chat with you. Please, do relax.
But I already am relaxed.
I've heard your background is quite the mystery, and what's more, that you possess some sort of unknown power. It's certainly a bold decision for Claude to put someone like that in charge of frontline forces.
I don't know if there's anything bold about it.
Oh, it seems you do not understand your unique position then. Each noble house in Leicester commands its own knights, and those knights in turn enact the will of their lords through the soldiers in their employ. But you are no knight, merely a mercenary who commands soldiers in fealty to nobody at all.
Maybe so, but all my orders come straight from the Alliance leader himself. What's the problem?
There is no problem, per se. You excel at what you do and fight with true valor. However, protecting the people of Leicester has always been the nobility's responsibility, and theirs alone. Some nobles may feel insulted that they have to rely on a simple mercenary of unknown origin.
Seriously? The nobles are usually the ones hiring mercenaries in the first place.
On the other hand, I hear there are more commanders of common birth in the Empire of late. Given our current lack of resources, the Alliance could serve to learn from them and promote more commoners through our ranks. Which means there should be no particular reason for anyone to resent you.
Didn't you just say they might feel insulted? If nobody's getting all hot under the armor about it, then there's no problem, right?
That said, this does not change the fact that a noble's obligation is to protect the common folk. Though your exact origins remain unclear, you undoubtedly fall into the commoner category as it stands. Therefore, you are entitled to all the protection a noble is compelled to provide. Simply say the word if you ever require my assistance.
I think I'll pass. I might be a commoner, but I'm a mercenary before anything else. Fighting is what I live for. You know, at first I thought you were just coming to complain, but you were actually trying to be nice.
Me? Nice? To you? Oh my, you are funny. Allow me to explain. I am the heir to House Gloucester, a noble among nobles. My offer of aid was not an act of kindness. It was a means to inform you of your place in this society. You would do well to remember the order of things here in Fodlan.
So you just came to tell me how I'm disrupting the order? You are complaining.
Most certainly not! Do you really think me that small-minded? I've acknowledged your skills, and all I ask in return is that you act according to your station. Understand?
Not really, no. I mean, we're at war, and you're seriously telling me I need to worry about how nobles and commoners are supposed to act? In any case, my job as a mercenary is to fight, simple as that. You're wasting your time if you're gonna get all bent out of shape about me.
I am not Never mind. We shall continue this at a later date.
Tough fight, eh, Lorenz? I'm just glad we both made it back safe.
Indeed. Without your help, I surely would have met a noble warrior's demise. Thankfully, my admirers will have no reason to weep today. And for that, you have my gratitude.
Well, that took a weird turn.
Do you remember what I said before about the order of things in Fodlan?
Huh. Can't seem to remember. What's all this about?
You surely cannot be serious. I told you that it was a noble's duty to protect the common folk. However, were a commoner to take a lethal strike in a noble's stead, then we have failed in our duty. I was dangerously close to suffering that fate myself.
Okay, sure, but you would have died if I hadn't saved you.
And in doing so, you put yourself in a most precarious position. Your life could have been forfeit.
Risking my neck to save others is just what I do.
Yes, well, you were lucky to keep it unsevered this time. Mark my words, there is no reason a commoner should ever put their life on the line for a noble. I couldn't bear the thought of someone of your status sacrificing their life for the sake of my own. So do not do that again. Are we clear?
Wow, that's how you repay the person who saved your life? I expected better from you, Lorenz.
No, that's not it. Truly, you have my sincere thanks. I simply want you to understand my position.
All right, I take it back. No need to get all riled up. You're a real piece of work, you know that?
Me? How rude! I will have you know I'm quite serious about this matter.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but we can end up in that situation 100 times, and I'll save you every single one.
Astonishing. You fail to understand me after all this.
I get what you're going for, but I've got my own way of doing things. Mercenary or no, I know there's nothing worse than watching an ally die right in front of me. Especially if they're weaker than me. I just can't help but jump in to save them, you know?
Weaker? You cannot possibly mean me.
Hey, you're the one who almost kicked the bucket out there. If you don't want people rushing in to save you, then you've just gotta get stronger.
I must admit, your argument is sound. I cannot refute it. In that case, I ask you keep your eyes on me from this day forth. I shall endeavor to improve myself. The day my strength surpasses yours, my noble personage will save your commoner skin and restore the proper order to this world. Yes! This shall solve all of Fodlan's problems!
This is why nobody believes me when I say he's actually a decent guy.
Ah, there you are.
Here to complain again, Lorenz?
Do I look like a man who does nothing but complain? Simply preposterous.
Okay, then what do you want?
I'm not sure if you noticed, but I have grown remarkably stronger as of late. I've poured all my effort, nay, my very blood, into these results. And do you know why that is?
Because you want to be more popular with women?
I assure you, I have never lacked popularity with the ladies. No, it is because you threw down the gauntlet.
I don't remember doing anything like that.
You surely could not have forgotten. Your words ring true in my ears even now. It was something like, if you don't want people running in to save you, then you just gotta get stronger than me.
That does sound like me.
And I believe I responded, the day my strength surpasses yours, my noble personage will save your commoner skin and restore the proper order to this world.
Did you?
Yes, I most certainly did. And now that day has finally come. I am a man of my word, after all. If I could only just rescue you from a perilous spot in battle, I will have truly fulfilled my vow.
So, that was a vow, huh?
Yes, one I whispered into the ears of the goddess herself. Yet you seem dead set on foiling my every opportunity to fulfill it. Somehow you never stumble, never falter on the battlefield. It's almost as if you're an army all on your own. And so, despite my every intention to rush in and rescue you, the opportunity never arises. Well, what do you plan to do about this?
Okay, see what you're doing right now? You're complaining again. But you've got it all wrong. The reason I don't run into trouble in battle isn't because I'm all-powerful or something. It's because I have reliable allies like you fighting alongside me. So you see, you've already fulfilled your vow.
What? Well, I must say, I'm quite impressed with myself. It seems I've managed to save your life without even realizing it. Which means I, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester, have emerged victorious in our challenge.
Challenge? What challenge? All of this was your idea. I never agreed to any of it. And besides, I don't think you've actually accomplished anything yet. I mean, you don't really think you're stronger than me, do you?
Ah, throwing down another gauntlet. Very well then. How about a little sparring session, right here and now?
Bring it. But no complaining if you lose, all right?
Sorry for the wait, Lawrence. So, what is it you wanted to talk about? Ooh, don't tell me. Is it about a girl?
No. I wish to discuss the consequences of your strategy at the Great Bridge of Murden.
Oh, that. If it's an apology you want, I'll say it as many times as I need to, both to you and your father. My plan left a cloud of treason hanging thick over the Honorable House Gloucester. I'm sorry, Lorenz.
Please, I have already accepted your apology. And besides, did my father not agree to your scheme? Luckily, my own person remains unsullied, and I will soon remedy the blemishes on my family name, you have my word.
If that's not it, then what do you want to talk about?
There is something I wish to confirm with you. A matter regarding the future of the Leicester Alliance. Can we really trust you, Claude? I have no qualms admitting that your work has freed the Alliance from a number of tight situations. and yet I have never been able to fully place my trust in you. The same is true even now. Were it as simple as choosing to believe, I would do just that. But this situation makes me uneasy. Day after day, I find myself forced to rely on a man with unclear roots and even more unclear intentions.
Your tongue's as sharp as ever, Lorenz. But I can't say I don't get where you're coming from. I wouldn't trust me either in your shoes. If I were you, I wouldn't let my loved ones touch a guy like me with a 10-foot poleaxe, let alone count on me to keep them safe.
You are quick to disparage yourself.
Yeah, maybe I took it a little far there. I mean, I'm not that bad, am I? Still, I'm not all-knowing or all-powerful like the goddess is. There's no way for me to know what the future might hold. Which means there's only one thing I can do. Stack my deck with as many cards as I can so we're ready for anything that comes our way. But on that front, the possibilities are kinda endless. No matter how many tricks I've got in my pocket, there's still this lingering worry I just can't shake. That's what I meant by not being able to trust myself. I feel like I'm constantly walking this tightrope with no clear end in sight. Lorenz? Are you even listening? If you were any quieter, I'd think you'd have died on the spot.
I am present, yes. I was just so shocked to hear you voice your anxieties that I struggled to find words. Could this be another of your schemes? What do you hope to gain by deceiving me so?
Whoa, slow down there. You're the one who brought this whole thing up, remember? Kinda rude to react like that after I go and spill my heart out to you, don't you think?
Forgive me, it seemed to have lost my presence of mind entirely. I fear I may be entering a state of shock.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
Claude, I am well aware that we Lester nobles will be cooperating with the Imperial forces moving forward. But House Gloucester has always prided itself on an amicable relationship with the Empire. This changes little for us.
I guess you're right. Your father did head up the pro-imperialist faction, after all.
Yes, until your wicked schemes severed their ties.
Do you really have to bring that up again? I thought I apologized for that.
I am simply stating the truth. If such words ring out as criticism to your ear, perhaps your conscience is the problem. But what I mean to say is, my house already had the foresight to do this previously. Your actions now are mere imitation.
I can see your point, though the logic is a bit forced.
It naturally follows that House Regan does not deserve to sit upon the Federation's throne. No, the people yet yearn for their rightful rulers, House Gloucester.
I'm pretty sure that's just your ego talking. I don't think people really feel that way.
Do not misunderstand. I am not opposed to your being king, for the moment at least. But your reign was granted by a round table conference, not blood, making you nothing more than an appointed monarch. And a temporary one, if I may. House Regan does not hold this position by birthright, and it will not stay with you in the future. No, the next to be put forth as king will be, why, of course it shall be, me, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester. Some even propose I ascend to the throne immediately if you begin to teeter toward ruin.
Yeah, you're really letting your ego run wild here. But I have to admit, the idea of a non-hereditary monarchy does sound interesting.
Doesn't it, though? My capacity for such thoughts is proof enough that I am suited to be king.
But I can't stand to think about going back to making that decision via round table. It'd be no different from how we used to do things in the Alliance.
Oh? Then how will we decide?
How about letting the people of Leicester choose? Left to their own devices, they'd probably pick whoever they thought would be the best able to protect them. Sounds pretty good, huh?
A preposterous suggestion. Is this in earnest? Though, such a method would prove a great boon for House Gloucester. The common folk in our territory have the utmost trust in us, after all.
And for once, I think that's fact, not ego talking. You do realize it would be the whole of Leicester choosing, though, right?
Not a problem. Our just rule is known far and wide through every mountain and ravine of Fodlan, I think. But let us set that matter aside for now. That is not what I came here to tell you. You should know, the role of king within the Federation is as of yet unstable. Proceed with caution, lest it all come crashing down around you.
You're right. Unlike the Empire to our south and Kingdom to our west, the Goddess's guidance didn't grace the founding of our Federation. So the role of king is a fragile one, held aloft only by the people supporting them. I'll be careful, just as you say. And thank you, Lorenz. I think I might just get through this with my wits intact if I have you here next to me.
Please do not get the wrong idea. I simply do not wish to see my beautiful home succumb to the foul clutches of despair.
Of course, of course. And I hope you keep coming to me to voice all your complaints. I'll be counting on you, Lorenz.
Ah, Annette! Good day to you! I see you remain as sprightly and sweet as a newly bloomed flower.
Hi, Lorenz.
Oh my. Have I done something to invite your displeasure?
You just kind of brought back a bad memory from a long time ago. Back at the School of Sorcery, there was this one time this noble guy made fun of me.
What manner of cur would dare do such a thing? If a noble ever presumes to mock your genius, point me in their direction so I might give them a taste of their own medicine.
Well, then pop the cork on that medicine bottle and take a nice big gulp.
Hold a moment. Are you implying that I am the one who mocked you?
I'm not implying it, I'm saying it. You made fun of me the first time we ever met. You were all like, I say, you there, this is no place for a child. Now run along to your parents before I summon the watch. We simply cannot abide a common scullery maid wandering these hallowed halls. Why, we'd be made a laughingstock. You thought I was some lost kid, and you called me a scullery maid.
Yes, I do seem to vaguely recall the incident. Oh, so that scullery maid was you! That is, you were in fact no maid at all, but the noble niece of Baron Dominic. You have my sincerest apologies for the error. Pray forgive my impertinent tongue.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it would be silly to keep hanging on to a grudge like that, right?
If we'd had but another chance to properly converse back then, I'm certain the matter would have been cleared up with some ease. But sadly, that day was both our first and last opportunity to meet.
Now that you mention it, I don't remember seeing you around after that.
Yes, because my father swiftly summoned me back to Alliance territory. After the king's death, the kingdom had become too unstable for me to remain there any longer.
Oh, right. That was right around the tragedy of Dusker.
My father worried that relations between the kingdom and Alliance might become strained. As such, I was forced to leave school mere days after my arrival.
Huh. Kind of funny how we keep ending up together like this.
Yes, it seems fate strives to keep us together. whether at the School of Sorcery, the Academy, or here. And I, for one, look forward to seeing what the future holds.
Me too. But if you ever call me a kid or a maid again, no amount of summoning the watch is gonna save you.
I swear on my life, those words shall never cross my lips again. And by way of apology for my odious blunder, I hereby swear to come to your aid if ever you require it. Just say the word, and I, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester, will hurry to your side. I'm Ned. Good day to you.
Hey, Lorenz. Did you need something?
Yes, there is something I simply had to tell you.
Please don't say you want to ask me out.
Perish the thought. I merely wanted to praise you for your diligence, as it has clearly been paying off.
Thanks, I guess. What's all this about?
I have borne witness to your magnificent exploits, both on and off the battlefield. Such achievements could only be possible through tireless effort. That kind of brilliance is impressive, no matter if you're a noble or a common lass of the lowest birth. Is something the matter? You look like a pigeon that's just been struck in the face with wind magic.
It just came out of the blue is all. I wasn't really expecting you to compliment me.
But I am wounded. Is receiving a compliment from me truly so shocking? I merely wanted to express my heartfelt admiration, not least of all because of the misunderstanding which has long stood between us. I thought it best to speak my mind before fate's fickle hand separates us yet again.
You are so odd sometimes.
And now you laugh at me. Might I inquire as to why? I see nothing odd about praising a dear colleague.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It just hit me that you're actually totally sincere about all this.
Had that not been apparent? How could I be anything less than sincere in my desire to mend our previously strained relationship?
Well, I'm glad you appreciate all of my efforts, Lorenz. I really am. Because when you called me a child back then, it felt like you were dismissing all the hard work it took to make it into the School of Sorcery. I think some part of me has wanted to win your approval ever since. So it feels great to finally have it happen. You're a better judge of character than I gave you credit for, Lorenz.
Naturally. It is a noble's sacred duty to stand above others and correctly evaluate their worth, after all.
Well then, as something of a noble myself, I guess I could stand to learn more about that from you.
That would be splendid! Well then, from one noble to another, perhaps you might join me for a meal so we might discuss issues of...
Let's not. I wouldn't want to spoil my newfound appreciation for you.
Is that so? How unfortunate. Perhaps some other...
Whoa, look at the time. I better get going. I need to do something with all this extra motivation.
Well, no matter. I need only follow her example and work tirelessly toward my goal. For I, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester, must aspire to nothing less. I will need to settle this matter post-haste.
Hey, Lorenz. What's wrong? If that frown was any lower, it'd be falling off your face.
Ah, hello, Hilda.
Have you been sleeping enough? Your body can't survive off grumbling and worry, you know.
I appreciate the concern, but I'm afraid I have no choice in the matter. Between the two of us, it appears as though my father is preparing to pass down the title of Count to me. As such, I must find a suitable partner to be my wife. It is an issue of utmost urgency.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot. Is that why you look so crabby? I don't know, though. I don't think you need to worry. I'm sure you'll find the right person in no time.
If only I had your confidence. The conditions for marrying into the distinguished House Gloucester are quite strict indeed. My partner must not only be willing to live alongside me as a proud noble, but share in the responsibilities that house leadership entails. I hope I can find such an ideal woman. But how is the situation in House Goneril?
My house?
Your father has chosen Holst to carry on the family name, has he not? He will soon receive the title to the house, if that is to go by. I was simply wondering what course of action you were planning to take once that happens.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the stuff my brother's up to doesn't really have much to do with me. If I had to pick, maybe I'd go traveling? I've always wanted to see the world. I'll go all over the place, taking in the sights, eating the best food Fodlan has to offer. Obviously not till the war's over and everything's cooled off, though.
Traveling, Quite an unexpected answer. Though I must say, earning permission from your father or Holst will be no easy feat. Grand adventures such as those are fraught with danger at every turn. I can only imagine the perils you might face with disease or scornful local lords. If you'd like my opinion, I believe settling down and pursuing a life of leisure much better suits your carefree personality.
Maybe, but there's a time and place for everything, you know? I can travel first, then spend my days relaxing later. And besides, Holst and my dad both spoil me rotten, so I don't think convincing them's going to be too big a deal. Oh, but I probably shouldn't go anywhere that gets too hot or too cold. Extremes aren't really my thing.
In that case, I know the prime location. There is a wonderful little place within Leicester borders, with boundless forests and crystal blue rivers and the most exquisitely comfortable climate. It's also rather close to Goneril territory, so your family will be able to rest at ease.
Let me guess. Is it Gloucester?
You're quick to catch on. It is one and the same, Hilda.
Thought so. I guess I wouldn't mind adding it to the itinerary.
Raphael, pardon my interrupting your fleeting moment of repose.
Oh, hey Lorenz. You need something?
I do, in fact. To tell the truth, I recently learned how you and your family founded an inn once you returned to your hometown. Yet, you still chose to leave them behind and risk your life and livelihood fighting in this brutal war. I must ask the reason why.
Why? Well, to keep my family safe, of course.
I struggle to follow your reasoning. Would then it not be more prudent to remain by their side?
That's what I thought at first, too. But just being there with them wouldn't be enough. Yeah, I can protect everyone day to day if I'm back keeping watch at the inn. But if me joining the fight on the front lines means we bring peace back to the world, they'd never have to worry another day in their lives. So sure, it's tough being away from Maya through all this, but it'll be worth it in the end. I know it.
I see. Your thinking is correct in part, but it is in part mistaken as well. Staying at the inn to protect your family will not provide them the security you so desperately desire. So long as this war continues to heave along, your establishment will always remain at risk of being consumed by the flames of combat. But you are a commoner, and it is our duty as nobles to protect the ordinary citizens of our territories. There should be no need for one who is not with the military to leave their family and join the war effort. Such tasks are meant to be handled by the nobility. In other words, you should be leaving the defense of your lands to me and my subordinates.
Were you really that worried about me being here? Oh, thanks. But this was my choice. I'll be fine.
No, that is not what I meant, in the slightest. I speak of the obligation we in the nobility have to our people. The weight of war should fall on our very shoulders, while the common folk in our charge should focus on maintaining their livelihoods.
Okay, but I'm still gonna fight no matter what. The toughest people are the ones who should be leading the charge, right?
What I mean is, you're not listening to a word I say, are you?
You don't think I've got what it takes, huh? I got it. Let's compete to see who's stronger.
Pardon? You want a competition?
You betcha. It's the perfect way to find out who's got the real arm muscles around here. There's a bunch of boxes that need to get moved over in the training grounds. Want to see who can carry the most? If I win, you'll have to promise to be totally cool with letting me fight.
No, I must decline. By that token, you will only end up proving your point.
So you do think I'm strong?
Do not misunderstand my intentions. You and I are on completely different pages on this matter. We are practically in two separate genres. But someone like him would undoubtedly prove useful in the heat of battle. But...
Hello? Whatever. I'm gonna go grab those boxes myself. My muscles are aching for a little workout.
There you are, Ignatz.
Oh, Lorenz! I find the beauty of this place to be so relaxing, don't you?
Yes, I must wholeheartedly agree. It is marvelous. As are you. Not only are you a knight of House Gloucester, you have even taken on the role of a general within this army. To be honest, when first we met, I could not see you as anything more than a mere merchant's child, who happened to be gifted with a better eye than most.
That's probably all I really looked like back then.
But now, you have grown so capable that I regularly mistake you for someone else entirely.
That's nice of you to say. But I still have a long way to go before I'm where I want to be.
Do you remember your time working as a knight in my territory? Back before the war began? Compared to then, you are practically brimming with life now, especially as we march from locale to locale.
You really think I'm that different?
I always thought you not fond of battle, hence why I find this reversal so very puzzling.
Well, it's because... I confess, I've been painting. Whenever I've had the free time during our marches, that is.
Is that so?
Yes. There are so many places in Fodlan just like this one, with the most incredible views. I simply can't help but put them down on paper because, well, I want them to stay with me forever. Maybe that's why I've been looking so alive lately. You certainly see straight through me, in any case.
I am sorry, Ignatz.
Huh? About what?
I granted you a position as my knight because I thought it to your benefit. But I see now that your heart lays somewhere else entirely. Hearing you talk about art with such passion, such fervor, it fills me with regret.
Oh, you don't need to apologize. If anything, I should be thanking you, Lorenz.
You should? What have I done to earn your gratitude?
When the Officers' Academy shut down, I was lost, deprived of my purpose in life. But then you came and offered me the job as a knight. Everything I experienced in that role has given my life new color. One I don't think I could do without.
I see.
So no matter how I live, no matter what I paint, there will always be that one hue that reflects my duty as a knight of House Gloucester. That will never disappear. And I couldn't be prouder that it's there.
I too am proud, Ignatz. Proud to call you a knight of my house. And a friend.
Well, if it isn't the Honorable Count Gloucester, you're looking quite busy today.
Ah, Lysithea. Indeed I am. As Count, I now bear the great burden of ensuring those who live within my territory are safe and prosperous. Such a vital matter requires my leadership in diplomacy, military efforts, and economic measures. Yet I will gladly handle them all to protect my people.
Your burden as a count, huh?
Precisely. Hilda's older brother, the venerable Lord Holst, is also making great strides as the new head of House Goneril. I even hear Margrave Edmund is preparing to hand succession of his title off to our dear Marianne. Yet, now that I think about it, I've heard not a word regarding the future of House Ordelia. When will you be inheriting your rightful title, Lysithea?
I have no intention of doing so. House Ordelia will end with my father.
I see. May I ask your reasoning?
My parents have been subject to one horrible experience after another for decades now, precisely because they are nobility. So I want them to be able to live out their golden years at least, in a little bit of peace, without the responsibilities of the house tying them down. Yet, they would lose everything were the territory to fall into chaos after they vacated the leadership. I'm doing everything I can at present to make sure our people continue to be safe and fulfilled, even once my parents are gone.
You needn't keep all your worries to yourself, Lysithea. I am always here to extend my aid. Please, come to me if you ever need anything at all. You must not be afraid to rely on others, you know. There is no shame in asking for help, especially when it comes to such important matters as one's family.
It's not like I'm ashamed or anything.
Lysithea, If you ask me, I believe you should take the title of Count Ordelia for yourself. You act now for the well-being of your parents, yet you do not let that cloud your concern for the common folk of your territory. Is there anyone better suited for the role than you? In my eyes, no. Something tells me there is another reason, your parents aside, that you refuse to inherit the title. Which is exactly why you must turn to your companions for advice. We are deserving of that much trust, at least, yes? After all, we are all working together to stop this war. Relying on us is the first step to solving your problems. More than anything, I, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester, will do everything in my power to assist you.
Fine, fine. But can we leave this discussion until after the war? In the meantime, I'll just have to keep an eye on you to see if you're really as dependable as you say.
Very well. You may witness my dependable nature to your heart's content.
I hope I have the time to.
My, if it isn't Marianne, how is the fine maiden today?
Oh, Lorenz. I'm all right, thank you.
Off to the chapel again? Your devotion never ceases to amaze me.
Yes, I am.
Tell me, do you regret taking part in this war? I was most surprised to hear you were joining our forces, so if you are overexerting yourself for whatever such reason...
I'm not, and I wouldn't say I regret it either.
Hmm?
I had no other choice. When the Officers' Academy shut down, my adoptive father insisted I join the army. I wasn't given the opportunity to say no.
I see. So it is by the will of Margrave Edmund that you're with us.
Yes.
I can only presume he did so as a show of his loyalty to the cause, considering he cannot make much use of his own soldiers. Yet, you do not seem entirely on board with the concept. Are you sure this is what you want? If need be, I would be glad to contact your father and sort this out for you.
Just stop. I'm fine with this. It's not like I have anywhere else to go anyway. This is the only option I have, so please, just leave me be.
Marianne, we are living through an era of immense change. This great war has entangled the three eminent powers in Fodlan, and will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on the continent at large. Leicester cannot stay the way it is now. No, it must not.
Why are you telling me all this?
Listen carefully, Marianne. I believe this moment in time to be a wonderful opportunity for you to turn a new leaf. I, too, feel pressure to do the same, and I have spent my days reacting in kind. Why don't you and I welcome in this new era together, as changed people?
If only it were that easy. Perhaps things wouldn't be such a struggle. I'm sorry. I will continue to be as I always have. All I can do is pray. If you'll excuse me. Lorenz, I'm so glad you're awake.
This is the infirmary. I see you have been taking care of...
Please, you mustn't get up. Professor Manuela said your wounds aren't too deep. Apparently the blow to your head was the worst of it.
I see. My apologies for all the trouble. To think my outing on the battlefield would end not in glory, but merely in losing consciousness. What is it, Marianne? I am perfectly all right. You needn't worry yourself over me.
No. It's my fault you ended up like this. You shouldn't have saved me, Lorenz. If only I had been injured in your place.
I must have been hallucinating during the battle.
What?
All was well one moment, and the next I felt a sharp gaze piercing my soul. Help me, it beckoned. No sooner had I turned around than I saw you there, the very same words seeming to float across your lips. But it seems my eyes were deceiving me. So you see, the blame for my injuries lies entirely with me. I simply assumed you were asking for my help and thrust myself into danger to provide it.
No, it's not your fault. Please, to be honest, I truly was asking for help.
My apologies for teasing you so, Marianne. But I know now how you actually feel, and I'm glad to know it was not just a hallucination after all.
For so much of my life, I didn't care if I lived or died, and yet when I saw you there beside me, I realized I did care. I wanted to live.
And that is good enough. Such instincts are only natural. You needn't try to justify it to yourself or anyone else.
Lorenz.
I thank you for opening up to me, Marianne. We will survive this war. Together.
We will. And thank you.
Phew. Guess that's good enough for today.
Leonie, I should have known it was you making all this racket so deep into the night.
Oh, hey, Lawrence. Yeah, I usually get an extra session or two in by myself after everyone else finishes their drills. A good mercenary is always ready for battle, you know. There's no telling when one might break out.
So even your mind is as sharp as a blade. Come to think of it, I was relieved to hear you had become a mercenary. And yet, pangs of guilt clawed at my heart.
Huh? Why? What's that got to do with you?
Quite a bit, if I may be frank. Your home, Son, sits nestled firmly within House Gloucester territory. Embarrassing as it may be to admit, I hadn't entirely realized that fact when we began at the Officers' Academy. But once the school shut down, I began to wonder what became of the students who hailed from our lands. I couldn't help but investigate further.
Uh-huh. And that's when you found out where I was from. What I'd been through.
Yes. As the heir to House Gloucester, it is my natural-born duty to concern myself with the well-being of my citizens. It must have been difficult indeed, scrounging up the funds required to attend Garrick Mock. I would hate for someone who has already been through so much to suffer any further hardship.
Well, some of the money we paid the church got back to us when the academy closed, at least. That's pretty much it. Not an ounce of help finding a job, and definitely nothing from the Count. So I started training, sharpening my skills as a mercenary. The rest was luck.
I am truly sorry, Leone. Allow me to apologize personally, both as your former classmate and as a noble in my father's stead.
Stop that. It's not your fault. I chose to leave my village. I'm the one who decided to try and make it on my own. And I would have been protected by the nobility if I'd stayed in the village, right? But that's not the path I picked. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if more commoners start making decisions for themselves someday.
You mean to say the nobility will become obsolete?
That's not what I said. There are plenty of people out there who still depend on you for protection. That's not gonna change. At the same time, I don't think you could keep every commoner safe even if you wanted to. The time we're living through is proof enough of that. So I'm sure you'll get plenty more people who make the exact same choice I did. Probably not for a while, though.
An era of change at the heart of the nobility. Commoners that are no longer content with just being commoners. Ah, the simple joys of a refreshing morning's exercise.
Oh, hey, Lorenz. Kinda early for you, isn't it? What are you doing here?
In truth, I was waiting for you, Leone. I merely decided to fit in a spot of training in the meanwhile.
For me?
There's something I was hoping to speak to you about. Do you recall our last conversation here? You said, the day may come that more commoners begin to make their own choices, begin to live without relying on the nobility.
Sure, I remember. What about it?
Well, your words were quite shocking to me. I've spent no small amount of time turning them over in my mind since. If you speak true, I wonder how I, as a noble, should proceed.
Huh. And? You reach any grand conclusions?
Well, it is an ironclad rule of the nobility that the commoners living on our land fall under our protection. And yet, some still slip through our fingers. That is simply the state of things in today's world. In a way, you are one of them, though you did choose this path of your own accord.
Hold on. Did you really have to put it like that? I didn't slip through anyone's fingers. I jumped out all on my own.
Well, yes, I suppose you did. My apologies. In truth, I find it exceedingly difficult to stand in the shoes of the everyman while also pushing matters forward as a noble. But if I'm unable to do exactly that, I have no hope of preserving the stability of my territory. As such, I am looking to bring an exceptional commoner into the ranks at House Gloucester to act as my advisor.
That's a surprise. I thought there was supposed to be some huge boundary between nobles and their people.
I assure you, such a boundary still exists. But I've come to realize something of late. As we proceed into the uncertain future, more and more common folk will begin to break free of their defined roles. Such an era will be upon us before long. Your actions are proof enough of that.
Whoa, slow down there. I don't think I'm some kind of great trailblazer or anything.
I've simply interpreted the meaning behind your words. I thank you for leading me to this realization.
Yeah, still not seeing it. I don't need your thanks.
Leone, I had this idea with your story in mind. As for the commoner I would invite to House Gloucester, the proposal I mentioned earlier, how would you like to fill that role?
I appreciate the invite, really. And I know it's supposed to be this huge honor, but there's other things I want to do in life. My dream is to become a mercenary just like the captain, and I'm already on the road to making that happen. I can't abandon that. I won't.
Very well. I suppose I would not want to stand in the way of your dreams. In that case, I pray you succeed in your endeavors, but I'll be here should you ever change your mind.
Good to know I have a backup. Thanks, Lorenz.
Hey, just the guy I wanted to see.
Ah, Balthus. Do you need me?
Yep. Got some hush-hush stuff I want to talk to you about. So let's go somewhere private.
Goodness, whatever could it be? It must be serious if we need to discuss it in a private setting.
So, what do you know about the Claude investigation?
I fear I have no idea what you are talking about. Did this request come from my father, perchance?
Yeah, I figured you might be in the dark.
Indeed, this is the first I have heard of it, though I believe he may have spoken to me once regarding something similar. Still, I am surprised he would ask such a thing of you. Also, how do you even know my father?
You know I've borrowed a lot of money from all kinds of folks, right? Well, your pops is on that list. I'm as broke as can be, so he put me to work to pay it back. That's how I ended up looking into Claude. I think that was around the time I decided to hide under Garrick Mock.
I am relieved to hear you know him for surprisingly normal reasons.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
Still, I wonder why my father would lend money to a base mercenary such as yourself.
Just gonna ignore that last part, huh? Now I know where the phrase like father like son comes from. Anyway, I'll answer your question. I may not look it, but I actually used to be a noble.
You, a noble? Pray, keep your jests in check, sir.
No joke. The full name's Balthus von Albrecht. I'm surprised you didn't know. Claude and Hilda both did.
Does this mean you have connections with Lord Holst?
Yeah, we're old buddies. I was the heir to my house too, so we got to see each other a lot.
An heir? Goodness me, I apologize for my ignorance. To think a boorish man so lacking in honor and grace would be a noble.
Hey, easy. I'll have you know I was actually the lord of the house. It wasn't till after I inherited the title that I left.
Such a thought staggers the imagination, but I will accept it for the time being. And I feel I now understand your relationship to my father.
You just sort of say whatever pops into your head, don't you? Still, you better think twice about that brutal honesty of yours, especially since you're gonna be the Count someday.
You may be right. Thank you for the counsel.
There you are, Lorenz.
What is it you need now, Balthus?
I want to talk about the debt I owe your father. We never settled that, and I'm thinking I should probably pay it back.
Ah, that. Well, as head of House Gloucester, I have determined you no longer need to repay it. Judging by the specifics of the requests, I highly doubt my father ever expected recompense.
Well, would you look at that? The current Count Gloucester sure is a generous sort.
You have saved me countless times on the battlefield since joining our army. Asking a comrade in arms for mere coin when I owe them a life debt would only sully the good name of House Gloucester.
Well, I still appreciate it. So, does that mean I can just drop the whole investigate Claude thing? I mean, I've already dug up an entire mound of dirt on the guy, but I'm happy to let it all go.
That is dangerous information to have on our king. Destroy all record and speak of it to no one.
You sure? There's some real juicy stuff in there. Your head would probably pop clean off if I told you.
I admit that my curiosity is piqued. Oh, what to do? In that case, Balthus, hold this information of yours tight and make sure it lands in no other hands. When the time comes that we need it, I will take it into my possession.
When you need it? What's that mean?
It is quite possible that I will become the next king after Claude. You take good care of it in the meanwhile. All for the sake of Lorenz Hellman Gloucester!
How the heck did I end up having to help you?
My apologies. Will you not be assisting me? Though you may be only a former noble, I have the utmost trust you will not betray me after my having cleared your debts.
Not too happy about this, but I am glad to have one less debt on my plate. Still, looks like I've landed with a real scoundrel. If only he were a lady instead.
So you seek to block my path, do you? Do you challenge me? If so, be warned. None can hope to stand against me in a staring contest. Begin! You are a gracious loser to accept defeat so readily.
I am hesitant even to ask, but what are you doing?
Ah, if it isn't Lorenz spying on me, Well, if you must know, an insolent feline was blocking my path and challenged me to a staring contest. However, we determined the winner quite readily. Were you witness to my victory?
Were you not once a noble?
I was, yes, and still am so at heart. In the future, you will see me as both the head of House Nouvelle and the world's finest mage.
Then it seems I must adjust my perception of you. I always knew you to be a striking beauty who possesses a keen talent for magic. I was even considering you as a candidate for marriage, should you happen to reform your house. But now, to find you competing with a house cat... I beg your pardon. Pray disregard my words.
The gall required to consider a woman as a mate and subsequently disqualify her in the following sentence is staggering. Staggering, I tell you! You are a coarse, vulgar, indecent boor! And were I ever under consideration for your hand in marriage, I hereby withdraw any and all possible interest! Also, you are the heir to House Gloucester, yes? Why would I ever hope to marry into a house of such meager standing?
How dare you? The magnificent House Gloucester is anything but meager!
I do dare, and have done! And while I know not of your status within Leicester, House Nouvelle is steeped in tradition, with a bloodline closely guarded and unbroken. I find it hard to believe that joining your house is worth uprooting that.
Well now, I can hardly back down from words such as those. We of Gloucester are legitimate descendants of one of the 10 elites and inheritors of a hero's relic. Long have we held a seat at the Alliance Round Table, why we are among the most distinguished houses in the whole of Leicester. We are no less valuable than House Nouvelle, who, may I add, were condemned to extinction by the previous emperor.
It seems our allegations are doomed to never reach a point of agreement.
Then I suppose we have no choice but to compete, that we may determine which of us is superior.
Choose whatever battlefield you wish, Lorenz. I shall ever be the agent of your doom.
I dare say I pulled off quite the impressive strategy in our previous battle. One should expect nothing less of me, Lorenz Hellman Gloucester.
It's a delightful surprise to see you here, sir. What wonderful peals of laughter you have. There is truly none other quite so suited for such splendid displays as yourself.
Constance? Is something the matter?
No, not at all. I just feel awful that someone as wonderful as you must turn their attention on a wretch such as I.
All right, what is the matter here? This is all quite unlike you. You almost always announce yourself to me with an exultant smile and some cutting jibe. But this... Oh, now that I think of it, I believe the same thing happened to her before. I thought she might be ill, but perhaps it is not so simple as all that?
I fear my words and actions, totally unsuited as they were to one of my status, have incurred your ire. Please inform me of what my punishment is to be, and I shall humbly accept whatever is to come.
What is this nonsense you speak of, Constance? You yourself said you were a noble woman at heart, did you not?
I must ask you to refrain from taunting me so. I am but a simple commoner now. A mere foolish being whose only calling is to obediently follow any order you give me.
Enough! Return yourself to normal at once. You sought to re-establish House Nouvelle. What has become of your ambition? Your... pluck?
That is kind of you to say. It pains me so to deny your gracious words. But it is unthinkable that someone so lowly as I could make real the nonsensical dream of re-establishing House Nouvelle.
Constance, this saddens me greatly. To think you would change so fundamentally once you fell into despair after your dream was shattered. I must do something to help you.
I cannot imagine causing you such a grave inconvenience, sir.
I will hear none of it. I do as I please.
Oh, how kind you are. But your help will not bring me happiness. Though audacious and selfish as this request may be, I ask you simply to watch over me.
It seems I must reevaluate my perception of you yet again. I once said there were things I must settle with you, but now is not the time for competition.
Correct. For no matter what sort of contest I find myself pitted in, you will always emerge victorious.
Well then, though you have rejected me once, pray allow me to say this. Nothing is impossible for Lorenz Hellman Gloucester. So when you decide to continue pursuing your dream and need my assistance, do let me know.